Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to our educational series, where we delve into the rich teachings of the Quran and hadith and their profound relevance to various aspects of our lives. My name is Naf'an Arsela Ramadhan, majoring in Sharia Business Management, class of 2022. In today's episode, we will explore the insightful Quranic verses 275-276, which provide crucial guidance on economic matters, particularly the prohibition of usury, riba, and the importance of ethical financial conduct. الذين يأكلون الربا لا يقومون إلا كما يقوم الذي يتخبطه الشيطان من المس. So on the one hand, there's a person who worries about their future in the akhirah. لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون is their concern. They want to be from those people that spend in the path of Allah all the time. And then there's a guy who wants to make money whether he's sleeping or awake. Day and night he wants to make money. Well, how can you make money sleeping and awake? You can get your money to make money for you. That's what riba is. Riba is making you money when you're sleeping and when you're awake, right? It's this passive income. That's supposed money made from money itself. And the essential, there's actually an old book. I don't know if I can dig it up now. It was written by an Indian scholar in English. It was written in the 60s. It was called Man and Money. See if you can find it. I forgot the scholar's name. It's called Man and Money. And it's basically a thesis he wrote on the effects of riba on a society and how banks will eventually go bust and houses will collapse because mortgages are happening. And then and jobs will be lost, and this entire bubble that's built by riba will collapse. It was written in the 60s in India. Whoa, that's kind of pretty good foresight. That's what riba does and is doing, So الذين يأكلون الربا لا يقومون. They stand on nothing. They have no basis. لا يقومون. They don't stand, meaning you don't see them around. That's the figurative meaning. Those who consume riba, you don't see them around. They don't stand. إِلَّا كَمَا يَقُومُ الَّذِي يَتَخَبَّطُهُ الشَّيْطَانُ مِنَ الْمَسِّ. Except just like the one who stands around that has been who's been taken by the shaitan, grabbed by the shaitan with a touch. In other words, the devil has touched someone was an expression that someone's gone crazy. Someone's wild, their hair's all over the place, their disheveled clothes, and they're running crazy in the street. تَخَبَّطُهُ الشَّيْطَانُ مِنَ الْمَسِّ. That was the expression. Unless it's people who consume riba are that crazy. You want to see an example of that? And now it's not because most trading happens online now, but back in the day stock market, the floor of the Wall Street stock market, you want to see يَتَخَبَّطُهُ الشَّيْطَانُ مِنَ الْمَسِّ, you watch a video of that, opening and closing bell. You'll see it. You'll see what that looks like. People, dignified, educated people turning into crazy wild animals. Then I saw a lot of this personally. I went to business school in New York City in Baruch College, and most of my friends from the MSA were finance majors. And in finance majors, by the time you're a junior in college, they teach you how to trade in the stock market. And even back in the day, E-Trade was a new thing, so they all got hooked on the E-Trade, right? And they're investing in all this stock. A couple of $100, $1,000, whatever they're investing, and they're sitting there on the computer screen in the library on their 56K connection. And they're waiting for the line to jump up. And it jumps up, and they jump up. And it goes down, and they go down. Oh my God. Oh, please, Ya Allah, please, let this riba rise. Let her rise it up. In the middle of the library, a guy will scream, yes! Sell. They'll go crazy. There's يَتَخَبَّطُهُ الشَّيْطَانُ مِنَ الْمَسِّ. Shaitan it's like Shaitan has touched them. Also, this implies you can't reason with them anymore. When they start tasting that kind of lifestyle of riba, then there's no reasoning with them. They go crazy. And how crazy do they get? Well, they say ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّهُمْ قَالُوا إِنَّمَا الْبَيْعُ مِثْلُ الرِّبَا. That is because they say bay' is just like riba. Trade, business which Allah made halal, is just like riba. What's the difference? I rent a house, I pay the same money. I mortgage a house, I pay the same money. What's the difference? Financially, the same amount of money left my pocket. What difference does it make? I give somebody, money, and I give somebody $100, they pay me back $120 in 2 weeks. I give somebody $100, they invested it, made some profit, and paid me back $120. I still got $120. What's the difference? It's the same. Liquid assets, solid assets, it's okay. And those who study economics and finance, they can become a lot more sophisticated than I am to actually say, oh, it's all the same. There's really no difference. It's all good. So the more knowledgeable you are, the more halal you can make it. Right? The less knowledgeable you are, the more black and white the lines are for you, and then you use your knowledge to grade the lines and say, yeah, it's all good, it's all fine, everything's fine, you know. And then on top of that, there's the new logic. Oh, I'm gonna take a student loan, the new riba, right? And the riba that's eating away at the Muslim student loans. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, $100,000 in student loans. To do an accounting major. Do some accounting. What are you going to get in an accounting major? What kind of salary are you going to earn? And how long will you have to earn that salary to pay off to become an accountant? Do some math. Talk to people in your field. You know, well, it's not even good dunya business. It doesn't even make sense in the worldly sense financially. What to speak in the akhiras. And then people want to go to prestigious schools, so they want to pay 3, 4, 5, 6 times what a state school will ask for, or what a city school will ask for. And in the end, they're both jobless. Right? Seriously. They're both jobless. Oh, all this prestige, all that name, all you paid for was a whole bunch of debt. That's all you paid for. You know, I want you to guys, if you get a chance, if you find any time other than reading Quran, which should take up most of your time, if you find that time outside of that, read this book. It's called Brand Washed. It's called Brand Washed. It just came out in a recent book. It's awesome. How we have been convinced of value in brands, whether they're schools, or shoes, or cars, or clothes, right? We're convinced of brands all around it. And we can be convinced that our happiness and our dignity and our self-worth lies in the brands that we hold in our hands. SubhanAllah. The brand of the university we graduated from. We should name it. We should buy its sweatshirt and wear it around so people can ask, hey, you went to Aura? Cool. Pretty awesome. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Still paying for it. Actually, my parents are, so I don't have a job. You know, I spend most of my days on Netflix or something. But yeah, they're paying for my college. And so they'll argue. And so the new argument is, hell, you're going to become a doctor. Take the loan. You're going to save lives. It's a good thing. You're doing that ibadah. I even heard this. You're doing that ibadah for the sake of Allah. Go take the riba loan. Oh, what? When did that happen? When has that ever been out? When in Islam did the ends ever justify the means? When did that ever happen? SubhanAllah. The insanity of it all. When people get engulfed into and you know, and this is the last comment I'll make about this, but I think it's relevant. Muslims have to be convinced that our deen is the solution. Our deen is the solution for our personal problems, our family problems, our community problems, and the world's problems. The problem of world peace, Allah's book has something to say about that. The problem of corruption, Allah's book has something to say about that. The problem of economic corruption, Allah's book has something to say about that. I'll add to that now. The smartest minds in the Muslim world, some of the most intelligent people in the Muslim world, live right here in the United States and are getting higher education. And those minds are not being used to expose or to explore how Islam is a solution. They're actually submitting themselves to the modern world as the solution, and Islam should cater to the solution. How many people are actually doing research in finance and maybe showing a modern alternative to riba? If we're convinced riba is evil, instead of saying, well, riba is everywhere, you can't escape it now, it's a reality now. At least explore the alternative. At least that. Who should be doing it? Who's going to do that in the world? We are. And this is an evil that doesn't just hurt us, it hurts humanity. And you just think about it in very layman's terms. I'm not a financial analyst. I'm a very layman person in finance. Just think of it in very basic, primitive terms. You got a house in New York in 1820. You paid $10,000 for that house. Well, better yet, you paid a brick of gold for that house. A brick of gold. You paid for that house. Now you own that house, right? And you bought it on interest, of course. So you're supposed to make payments of $10,000 over a course of 20 years. How much did you end up paying? $25,000. Now come times for you to sell that same house. You're gonna sell it for $11,000, $12,000, make a little profit. What are you gonna sell it for? Well, you spent $25,000, so you should at least ask for $30,000. The next guy buys it for $30,000. He's gonna take another 30 years to pay it off. How much did he pay? He paid $60,000. He's gonna sell it. He's gonna sell it at least for $70,000. The next guy buys same house, same brick, same foundation, same patch of land, same physical material value. But the next generation and the next generation and the next generation, it becomes more and more and more and more difficult for them to afford the same thing. The same exact thing becomes more and more and more difficult for them to afford. And perhaps even the previous generation died paying it off, paying 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times the price of what it was actually worth, and left their children in debt or homeless. Is that not what's happening around us? You know? And so, and then you know what our government did, they collected gold, right? It was illegal to keep gold, you had to sell it back to the government. So imagine you had gold, a brick of gold, back in the late 1800s, you had a brick of gold, you had to give it back to the US Treasury. So they give you $20,000 for your brick of gold, right? Some time has passed by now, you take those same $20,000, the great grandkids of that guy, he takes the $20,000 back to the bank and says, can I have my brick of gold back, please? You can get a coin. Had he held on to the brick of gold, was that value sustained? Yes. Did he take the cash, that value was sustained, or was he robbed? Those generations got robbed of that wealth. People got robbed of that wealth. That's what riba does. That's what it robs people of value, of good hard-earned money. These people, honest, like non-Muslim people, they're our fellow American citizens, they have decent jobs. They got themselves into predatory loans. They bought homes for $150,000, $200,000, not mansions, decent-sized homes, and they were paying $1,500, $1,600 in a mortgage, but it's adjustable rate, right? So they jumped the rate from 5% to 8% to 12%, and now all of a sudden, within a month, their mortgage payment went from $1,500 to $3,500. They can't afford it anymore, and so now they're paying for a house that's worth $200,000. They're paying $600,000, $700,000, and they can't. So they're kicked out of their house, and then the bank sells it off, or at a loss of $300,000. A poor bank only got to make $100,000 this time. You know, that's riba. That's how riba is eating away at not just us, all of society. It's a means of oppression in society. So when Muslims don't do serious research in this area, even if it starts to suggest that we've become defeatist. We don't think there's a solution. We're not confident Allah has a solution. He does. His book does. And it needs to be brought to light. And I believe really we have some very intelligent minds, and they can do work in this area, and we can have another economics. We can have clean economics. We can have clean capitalism. We can. Halal capitalism. We can develop that as an industry, an entire economic model. And if the entire world doesn't follow, the Muslims can commit themselves to it, and when the rest of the world sees the benefit of it, they'll follow suit. I told you, right? A brother I met only became Muslim because he read up on Islamic financing. He was a Wall Street guy. Looked up ethical financing online. First thing he found was Islamic concepts in financing. He's like, this is way too ethical. It can't be anything but God's religion. Didn't even read the Quran. Just because we are against riba, he became Muslim. A Wall Street guy. That's incredible. You know? So we're holding behind this something. We have something. We have to expose it to people. People are going to come to it. People don't come to guidance. We take guidance to people. May Allah Azza wa Jal give our youth and our minds the ability to be put in the right direction. Instead of explaining the intricate differences between business and riba and the fine lines between liquid assets and solid assets and all that jazz, Allah just says one thing and closes the case. Here's the reason why you can't have riba. Because you're crazy, there's no reason to reason with you. Why are you crazy? Because shaitan's touched you already. There's no reason he'll work with you. So the only thing you need to hear is Allah made trade, business halal. And Allah made riba haram. وَحَرَّمَ الرِّبَا فَمَنْ جَاءَهُ مَوْعِظَةٌ مِّن رَبِّهِ Then the one to whom a counsel from his master came. A counselor and counsel from his master came. Somebody gave them really good advice that went inside their heart, and they felt, yeah, I need to get out of riba. I need to stop making money off of riba. فَانْتَهَا Then he stopped. فَلَهُ مَا سَلَفَ Then he'll get whatever he earned in the past. Before this ayah came down, some Masada were involved in riba. Now the ayah came, and I'm going to stop immediately. I'm not collecting any more interest payments. You just pay me exactly what you owe me. But whatever he earned in the past, he was worrying about that too. Allah says, no, you get to keep what you already have. But whatever occurred in the past, he gets to keep. وَأَمْرُهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ And his decision is with Allah. In other words, he shouldn't feel very safe either. وَأَمْرُهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَمَنْ عَابَ, and whoever comes back and starts collecting riba again, فَأُولَٰئِكَ أَصْحَابُ النَّارِ, and those are people of fire, هُمْ فِيهَا خَالِدُونَ, in which they will remain. يَمْحَقُ اللَّهُ الرِّبَا, Allah obliterates riba. Allah eliminates riba. وَيُرْبِ الصَّدَقَاتِ, and He raises sadaqat. Yurbi is the same root origin as riba. Arba, yurbi, to raise something. Riba, to rise yourself. Riba, to something to swell and rise yourself. Riba is also used for mutated growths. Like, you know how potatoes get some mutations on the side sometimes? They're also called riba, like unnatural growths. Riba is unnatural growth of your wealth. And Allah says, Allah will make your sadaqat grow unnaturally. He'll make them even more, powerful and sustained in society, but Allah will obliterate riba. We're seeing Allah obliterating riba in society now. The housing crisis, the credit crisis, this is Allah obliterating riba. Yamhaqullahu riba wa yurbi sadaqat, and He will elevate charities. Wallahu la yuhibbu kulla kafarin athim, and Allah does not love every single one of those who are excessively disobedient, excessively ungrateful, and constantly in sin. What an incredible combination. We'll end with this. Kafarin athim. Kafar is different from kafir. Kafir is ungrateful and disbeliever. Kafar is excessively ungrateful. Someone who engages in riba has engaged in an incredible act of ingratitude towards Allah. Because it's a highly selfish act to deal in this heinous practice. They're always making money, I told you, even when they're sleeping. So they're constantly making money. So Allah uses the ism sifa, something you learn in Saf. The ism sifa is athim with a ya in it, which means someone who's constantly in sin. Because the riba is constantly growing. So they're always in sin. Whether they're sinning physically or not, their money's always sinning for them. Kafarin athim, Allah doesn't love those kinds of people. They are engrossed in sin all the time. How can a person who's engrossed in sin all the time make dua to Allah? What kind of dua will that be? How will Allah answer? فَأَنَّ يُسْتَجَابُ لَهُ, how will He be answered? How can that person be? If he's breathing sin, sleeping sin, wearing sin constantly, they're in that environment. What kind of dua will be answered for them? May Allah protect us and our families from riba. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Qur'an al-Hakim wa nafa'ni wa iyyakum bil ayati wa dhikr al-Hakim.